Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and greetings everyone. Salam, we love UPM. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to warmly welcome all of you to webinar series Head the Hunger Session 2. My name is Elin and I will be your moderator for today's session.
And I'm Amirul Rizlan, your co-moderator for today. So thank you for spending your afternoon with us.
Last week, during session 1, we explored insight and strategy related to hackathons. Today, we continue our journey by focusing on an equally important topic, which is food security.
So this session will provide deeper understanding on food management, sustainability, and the challenges surrounding food security.
Before we proceed, here are a few housekeeping reminders. Please keep your microphone mute throughout the session. You may type your question in the chat box, and we will have a Q&A session at the end of the talk.
So if you encounter any technical issues, please inform us in the chat and our technical team will assist you. So to start off this webinar, we would like to warmly welcome our director, Russell Tang Sin Ron, to give his opening speech. We welcome you to begin your speech, sir.
Hello. So, good afternoon, everyone. So first and foremost, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our respected Dean, Prof. Dr. Shamala, and our Deputy Dean for Academic, Student Affairs and Alumni, Associate Professor Dr. Hazura Zazalil, and Dr. Azilawati, my Program Advisor, for the continuous support. So, and I would like to also say thank you so much to our important guest of the day, Prof. Madya Dr. Ungku Fatimah, as our most respected speaker for today. Because despite her busy schedule, she still agreed to help us out to make this event a success. So thank you, Doctor. And last but not least, I would like to extend my deepest appreciation to my organizing committee and the President of Council, Kimberly, for their relentless support towards this program. So to all the participants that joined us today, thank you for your time and enthusiasm and all your participation. We hope that this knowledge that shared today is able to help you to prepare for your hackathon, for those who joined Putra Hack, and for those who didn't. We hope you get to learn something about food security, despite being in different sectors or any kind of courses. So let's enjoy the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russell, for the inspiring opening remarks.
It is now my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for today. Our speaker is Prof. Madya Dr. Ungku Fatimah Ungku Zainal Abidin, Head of the Food Management and Service Department at the Faculty of Computer Science and Technology, University Putra Malaysia. She is also an accredited trainer by HRD Corp and has extensive expertise in food management and service system.
With her vast experience and knowledge in this field, we are confident that today's session will provide valuable insight into food security and sustainable food management.
Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Prof. Madya Dr. Ungku Fatimah Ungku Zainal Abidin. The floor is yours, Professor.
Thank you. Is there latency? Okay, thank you. Okay. I have a very bad lag. Is there any way I can exit the room? Even talking? I'm not too sure why there's echo.
Sorry to disturb you, Prof. Are you joining with two devices?
Maybe I have the platform first and then I join back. Not too sure why this echo happening.
Prof, can you try to talk again? We'll hear if
Okay.
there's echo or not.
Okay, can I?
Okay.
Is it better now?
That's better. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
better. Okay, so I pass the floor to you, Prof. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you to the MCs for the kind introductions. Good afternoon to all the participants. It is my pleasure to be here with everyone today. And I sincerely appreciate to you for joining this webinar. Okay, so today we are going to discuss a topic that actually affect Malaysian, realizing or not, if you're realizing it or not, is about food security. Okay, when we talk about food security, many people immediately think about agriculture and food production. Okay, so maybe I share with you all first my slide for today so that we have a visual aid for you to refer to. Can you all now see my slide?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Can you see it as a participant view or presenter view? Wait,
I think it's in presenter view.
presenter view. Okay, sorry, wait. Let me try again. I try this one. Okay. Okay, can everyone see now? Presenter view.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so whenever we talk about food security, I think many people will immediately think about farm, okay? Maybe think about food production. But actually, in reality, it is far more complex than that, okay? So food security is actually not about farm, it's not about food production. It actually covers so many things, which include economy, supply chain, health, governments, and ultimately national resilience. Okay, so we will learn about this national resilience later. So to begin this session, let me bring you all to a simple reflection. Okay, reflection about the food that we eat every day. Okay, I want you to reflect or rethinking the next meal on your plate. If possible, I want everyone to respond in the chat 3 reflection questions. Okay, I want you to respond to this question so that I have some ideas about my audience today. Is it possible, MC? Can we view
Yes.
yeah, okay, great. Okay. So the three questions, the first one is, where does the food on your plate actually come from? Okay, so that is the first question you have to answer. The second one, I want you to respond. If imports food stop tomorrow, could Malaysia feed itself? Okay, give your opinion. So the answer is either yes or no. Okay, don't say maybe. And the third one is, if food is always available in the supermarket, does that means we are truly food secure? Okay, so that is the third question. And the third question should be answered yes or no only as well. Okay, so the first one, you are free to say anything except don't say from my mom's kitchen. Okay, think broader. And then the second and the third question, you answer yes or no. Okay, so I give you all 5 minutes to respond to this, and I want to see what is my audience today response towards this question. Okay. Okay, I think there's still participants coming in, so maybe we need to give more time. Okay. So for those who have just joined in, I hope you can answer these three questions. A reflection question, and please provide your response in the chat. Okay, I am now viewing the response. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a question here. Can we get the material later? Yes, of course. I'll share the material after this. Okay. So local production. Okay. No, no. All right. Not sure. Okay. All right. From processing factories, processed food like poultry. No and yes. Okay. Okay. I think still many are entering this program. So maybe we give more time. Okay, I hope those who just joined could respond to the question, the three questions in the screen, yeah, through the meeting chat. Oh, from other countries and no, no, okay. Okay, this is a worrying response. From other countries and no, no, okay. Okay, can I get more response? Okay, from farms, the food also may be imported from other countries. Okay. Second question, can, but maybe we don't know how long we can last without imports. Okay. Detailed answer. Not really. Okay. Question number 3, not really. Okay. Veggie farm, paddy fields, animal produce. Okay, this is very specific answer. Question 2, no. Question 3, no. Okay, this is worrying. Okay. For me, many food in Malaysia are imported. So not all food on our plate is produced locally. Okay. Number 2, no. Number 3, yes. Okay, as long as we see the shelf is full, our food is secure. Okay, that's what it means, yeah? If you answer yes, okay. All right. Okay, so we are seeing more and more people joining. Okay. Okay, I guess we can continue. Okay. Okay, the key point here actually is, although we see this question maybe simple to you, okay, but actually it is revealing your awareness about our food supply system, okay, and of course it's revealing something so much more deeper, okay. So today we will explore the real story behind Malaysia food security, okay, and today I will also be discussing the important document in our country's effort to protect our food security, and it is called Dasar Keterzaminan Makanan Negara, which is was launched 2024. Yeah. Okay, so our discussion today will be based on that document, which I think is important for you all, especially in fulfilling this program. Okay, based on the theme of this program, I believe this document must be understood by you all. And we'll go very briefly because the document is very detailed, but I give you some ideas of what is the content of this document in order to assist you understanding food security, and later you will use it to fulfill this program. Okay. May I recheck that you all can see my slide now? Yes?
Yes, we all can see
Okay.
your slide.
All right, thank you. Okay. Okay. So to understand the reality of Malaysian food security, we first need to examine how our food system works. Okay, how it actually works. I think when we talk about food security, a lot of concern that we always hear is we import food in a large amount. Large amount of our food supplies are imported food supply. Okay, so the situation is even worse is when 80%, okay, approximately 80% of Malaysia food import come from only 3 countries, or mainly 3 countries. Of course, different food commodity will have different countries, importing countries. But in general, about 80% covered by just 3 countries. Okay. So this condition is called a concentration export. So this extreme concentration will actually increase our vulnerability to food supply. Okay. During if any disruption happen, like geopolitical conflict, or maybe a global pandemic, or maybe a sudden trade disruption, restrictions, because we rely on a limited number of country that we import. If anything happen to this country, we will be short of supply. Okay, so we were supposed to diversify. We should import from more diversified countries, but in this case, we only import from 3 countries. Okay, for example, like for our rice, we mainly import it from Thailand and Vietnam. Maybe for our meat, we mainly import it from India. For our veggie, we mainly import it from China. So we depends on a limited number of countries, and this will cause vulnerability for our food supply. Okay, this situation does not happen by accident. Okay, why this happen actually? Yeah? Historically, Malaysia economic development has focused on industrialization and export community. Okay, so we export a lot of palm oil. So for that, we then do not focus on local production. Okay, so domestic food production was not our priority. So our agriculture modernizations progress becomes slow. Yeah, so then we do not progress in our agriculture, and that has caused us to import a lot. Yeah, so then we import to fill the gap, to fulfill our need. So today, this historical structure has shaped our food system, meaning that we rely on import. Yeah, but then this does not mean import are bad. Okay, even if we import, it does not mean import are bad. Okay, food security does not equal to total self-sufficiencies. For that reason, we strategize because we do not produce in local. We have to strategize by importing our food. So it's a strategy actually. And of course, producing all on our own is just a myth. Okay, there is no country in the world that produce everything for their nation by their own. They also have to import to other country. Okay, but we have to diversify our import system. Okay, so import are not a failure system, but we have to strategize, we have to diversify it. Okay, so now, true security relies on balancing domestic production with a highly resilient and diversified ecosystem. So that was the thing that we need to do. Yeah. Now then, what is our food security issues? Okay. Do we actually have food security issues? All right. Let's look at what does food security really mean. Okay. The global standard now has moved food security definition beyond agriculture. Okay, I already mentioned just now, it's not just about farm, it's not just about food production. Yeah. So according to Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, food security exists when all people at all time have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food for an active and healthy life. Okay, so with this definition, it means it is not just about availability. It is not just about the food is available. No, it requires the purchasing power. It requires infrastructure and social equity, meaning it goes beyond like you have to have it available. You have to make people have the power to purchase, the infrastructure to produce, and equally distributed. Okay, other things. It is not just occasional. Okay, so you don't just make the food available at one time or for a short period of time. It has to be permanently stable throughout the risk of sudden starvation. Okay, so food security means the food is permanently stable, okay, without any starvation. Also, it is not just about calorie. Okay, so you don't want to ensure that people have enough calorie. No, you need food that must be biologically sustained a human body without carrying diseases, meaning the food that is supplied is safe and nutritious. Okay, so the definition of food security is holistic. Okay, it involves all these components, all these elements. All right, so now to fulfill this, okay, sorry, cannot. Okay, the food security has 4 pillars. Okay, 4 pillars. To achieve those elements. Okay, so the 4 pillars is availability, accessibility, utilization, and ultimately it leads to stability. Okay, so what does it mean by availability? It means it's enough for food produced or imported. Okay, so here I use the word imported. We want to ensure that the food is available. So whether it is produced sufficiently or is imported sufficiently. The second pillar is accessibility. Can people afford to buy the food? Okay, can people afford the food? So those are also making the food is secure. Okay, and the third one is the food is safe and nutritious? Okay, so the reaching the state of nutritional well-being throughout educate, diet, clean water, sanitation, and healthcare. So meaning food security is made up with the correct utilization. And finally, stability. Can people access food consistently over time? Okay, so this is the ultimate output. To ensure a population, household, or individual must have access to adequate food at all times without risk of losing access. So these are the 4 pillars of food security. Okay. But then around the world now, we are seeing that the food system face several major pressure, okay, that destabilize our food supply chain. Okay, and this is at global level, meaning many other nations are facing this situation. Okay, so the first one is climate change. Okay, so climate change has affected agriculture productivity. And then the second one is rapid urbanization. Meaning to say when there is a rapid urbanization, the food distribution are concentrated in the certain urban area. And these have left the rural area facing scarcity and food supplies. All right. And other global pressures is geopolitical conflicts. Okay, geopolitical conflicts, I think now we are witnessing geopolitical conflict, which cause severe global supply of food in many parts of the world because of geopolitical conflicts. So this is also global pressures that affect food security worldwide. The next one is resource degradation. Okay, due to severe soil and water depletion. Some part of the world, we have problem with resource degradation. Okay, and then systemic waste. Although some part of the world have scarcities in the food supply, other parts of the world have issue with massive food loss along the supply chain due to poor management, due to poor training, due to poor handling, and many other issues. Okay, so this contributes to the issue of food securities. Okay, inability to reduces massive food loss has resulted in food securities issues. And other important global pressure is economic inflation. With economic inflation, it has raised the global food price. So our food price increasing, and as a result, although we have the food available, the purchasing power is not there, meaning the accessibility will be reduced because of people do not have the economic stability and the purchasing power. Okay, so this is happening at global level, okay, many part of the world. And as a result, 2.3 billion people globally experience moderate to severe food insecurity. This is in the record of 2023, but this is the number of people suffering around the world due to food security issue. All right. What about Malaysia? Okay, so Malaysia food supply chain are vulnerable. Okay, as it is partly affected by the global pressure that I explained just now. Okay, so Malaysia, we face several structural vulnerabilities. Okay, the first one is import dependency. Okay, so this is what I have mentioned just now. This is an issue in a way that we import 80% from limited number of countries. Okay, so that make our supply system vulnerable. Okay, reliance on just 3 countries for key food import create severe supply chain vulnerability. Okay, and especially we import our staple food, yeah, including rice, yeah. So that is making this an important factor affecting our food security. All right, the next factor is population demand. Okay, we have a growing number of population, and it is projected by 2050 we're gonna have 45 million number of population. So this require a massive scale up in our food availability. Okay, so in this case, yeah, maybe we're gonna have issue with food availability and also food accessibility due to the rising number of population. Okay, the third factor is aging workforce. Okay, we are constrained with aging farmers demographic, and they have limited technological adoption, which impact the yield, the farming or the production yield. So this is what we are facing right now. And most of the young people, they go to the cities, they don't become farmers. So what is left is aging farmers, and this reduces our farming yield. Okay. All right. So our food system vulnerability does not happen in terms of food production. Okay, we also face some consumption crisis. Okay, that contribute to food security. Consumption crisis, particularly in terms of waste and malnutrition. Okay, just now we see at global level, we have issue with a massive food loss, but in our country we have issue of severe food waste. Okay, so 17,000 tons of food waste we produce every single day. Okay, and the worst part is 24%. Okay, 1/4 of all this proportion are actually still edible. Okay, so why this happen? Because our population, they still have issue with managing the supplies in many aspects, depending on different level of different stage of production. Maybe you're talking about in the farm, maybe in the production premise like manufacturing, or maybe in the restaurant or institutions. So the inability to manage the food, okay, in terms of maybe forecasting, handling, and various aspects of the operation, this has resulted in food spoilage, and in the end, it causes high number of food wastage. Yeah. All right. Other consumption crisis is double burden of malnutrition. Okay, what does it mean by double burden of malnutrition? In Malaysia, we have issue with a population that is overnutrition. Okay, overnutrition. Those who are obese and those who are overweight. Okay, they eat too much. At the same time, we also have the opposite population who are who have low nutrition. Okay, low nutrition. So they become especially among the children, they become stunting or wasting, too skinny. So this is double burden malnutrition that we face in Malaysia. Okay, but also good to know that we have a high number proportion of diet-related death caused by cardiovascular, meaning that our food consumption has resulted in death, okay, caused by cardiovascular disease, and it is almost 70% of all the statistics. Okay, so this malnutrition directly impact our national productivity and overburden the healthcare system. Okay, so you may see this is indirect, but it is the result of our food security. Food insecurity issue in Malaysia, which just now we define it, not just about availability, it's about safe, it's about nutritious. Okay, so this is what we are facing right now in Malaysia. Okay. Other than that, we also have issue with affordability and safety. Okay, I think affordability happen at global level as well. In Malaysia, we also face increasing costs of healthy diet. I think we are seeing our food price skyrocketing, including those of healthy diet. Yeah. So with this, we have lesser access to healthy food. Okay. And then at the same time, we are also facing continuous problem with food safety. Every year we have high number of diarrhea cases. Okay, some of it cause mortality. Okay, so this system affect our distribution of healthy, safe food. Okay, so finally, we can say that Malaysia still have a food security issue, and in terms of ranking, we have the score of 12.7, which is in the rating of moderate hunger level. Okay, and this has been recorded for 2 decades. Yeah? So in terms of ranking, we are in the 61 ranking. Yeah, so I would say we are in the middle of all the countries, yeah, in terms of our rank. So we are still in need of many effort to hack our food security issues. Okay. All right. Now, those are all the challenge that we face in Malaysia in terms of our food security issue. So how does all this happen? Yeah, it has actually been defined as due to systemic fallout. Okay, so it goes beyond agriculture sectors. It has impacted multiple sectors. Okay, so the result of food security issue, we have seen multiple sector has been affected. The first one is public health risk. Okay, the second one is environmental degradation. Okay, and then we have the impact on economic stability, and we have impact on social inequitability. Okay, so these are the 4 major impact of food insecurity in our country. Okay, due to all the challenge that we face, some of it are actually global pressures, and some of it are local. Okay, so now let us examine all of this impact more closely. Okay, in terms of public health, okay, so the biological cause of food insecurity is actually we have chronic lack of essential input, which then we have diet-related disease. Okay, why this happen is because we have poor access of food, healthy food. Our citizen utilize or reliance on cheap and low nutrition alternative. Okay, and that has led to diet related disease. Yeah, so they just purchase anything high carb just to make sure they are full, but at the same time this kind of diet result in diet related disease. Yeah, so with this situation, it has reduced productivity because the nation has physical inability to maintain active and healthy life. Okay, so um, surely food insecurity have affect our public health. Okay, economy, in terms of economy, it has a vicious cycles of declining purchasing power. Okay, when we have issue with food security, it has increased base food price. Our food price increase, and this has reduced the household purchasing power. Okay, so when the nation, okay, people do not buy, it will lead to instability and volatility in the food industry. Okay, so when people don't buy, all the food producer will struggle with their business, with their production, okay, and sustainability. So it's a chain effect. Okay, so you have food security issue due to the high price of food. Okay, the nation do not have purchasing power. It affect the stability of the food industry, and that finally leads to higher national import costs to stabilize the supply. So we spend more on the import costs because of our industry could not produce for local need. Then we obtain from import, and we spend more money to import, and that will increase transaction of our income outside the country, and that cycles actually affect our economy. Okay, next, the impact into the environment. Okay, so what are the hidden tax of unsustainable production? Okay, so if we practice unsustainable production, okay, it will affect the environment in various aspects. Okay, in terms of the soil, severe soil degradation and loss of arable land will happen if we practice unsustainable production. Okay, in terms of ecosystem, we will face irreversible loss of local biodiversity. Okay, so this is also the result of unsustainable production. We will also face extreme pressure and depletion of clean water resources. Okay, and finally, we also have a spike in agriculture carbon emission. These are all unsustainable production that would affect our environment. Okay, social inequality. Okay, food security will widen the fracture of inequality. Okay, so if we do not handle our food security, we will see a deepening poverty. Okay, striping economic mobility from vulnerable demographic. So vulnerable demographic such as a low income population, disabled group. Okay, so they will be in a deepening poverty. And then we will see stark divide between those who have economic access and those without. Okay, so we will see a rising inequality between the two. And then we will see rural vulnerability. Okay, people leave agriculture and isolate community entirely exposed. So we will see more people go to the urban, and this will leave a rural population vulnerable. And then we will see systemic dependence. When people have less access to food, they will depend on government food assistance. Okay, and this will drain national resources. So our government will have to supply food assistance to the vulnerable population. Okay, so these are all the impact of food security in the multiple sector. Okay, not just that. Actually, it is the cascading effect of food vulnerability. It goes from individual to national. Okay, it goes individual to national. Okay, in terms of individual, it will cause malnutrition. Okay, it will cause stunting, wasting among the kids. Okay, and then it will cause micronutrient deficiency among individual. Okay, and then it leads to household level. Okay, we'll see lower productivity and poor academic performance. Okay, when these are not handled, it will go up to industrial level, where we'll see that the business will not sustain, and this will lead to price volatility, okay, and then operational instability, and finally it will affect the at national level. So we will have import vulnerability and political sensitivity. Okay, so the effect of food security, it will scale up from individual level to the national level. So we need to see that food security is actually not just about feeding people. It is the fundamental prerequisites for national security and stability. Okay, so we want to make sure at individual level up until the national level, okay, everyone play their roles, and understand that food security is not just about feeding people, but it is making the nation resilience. Okay, all right. I think that is about the introduction of food security. And of course, I already touched base on what are the challenges we face in our food security, and also the impact of food security in Malaysia. Next, I will go to a discussions on our Dasar Keterjaminan Makanan Negara. Okay, may I know if we can proceed, or maybe there is a questions from the audience before we move on to the next part of this webinar.
All right, before we move on to the next slide, maybe we would like to ask any participant, if you have briefly question, you guys can drop in the chat box, and then moderator will read your question.
Okay.
If there's anyone that want to ask a question verbally, please raise your hand, and then we can unmute you, or else you may type your question in the chat box. Thank you. So while waiting for any participant to ask question, Doctor, I have some question.
Okay.
What step do you think that government or society should prioritize to strengthen food security in moving forward? What do you think?
The first thing first, I think we need to create awareness. We need to create awareness among the nation that everyone has their role. Okay, even if you are just a customer, even you are just a consumer, you have your role. Okay, so we need to educate at every level, because just now when we discuss the factors that influence the challenge that we face, it is not just about feeding the people. Yeah, we have economic effect, we have public health effect. So all of this meaning that food security is a complex matter and involve many people and every part of this sector. So for now, I don't think many people are aware that they have their role. Okay, and I am so impressed with actually your program that you have tried to make young people see, with expertise that you have, you can do your part in supporting the nation effort to manage, okay, to make our national food secure and resilient. So that is the first thing first, which I think we are still moving toward making more people, more Malaysian aware about food security. Okay, even I think the word food security, some people still have misconceptions. So at that point, we are still at the level of awareness. But the dasar keterjaminan makanan that I will share after this is really, I think, an eye-opening effort to help every sector in our food system realize that they have their part to play, and all the mission has been laid out for them to do their parts, to work together to help the nation in making our food system resilience. Okay, so first education. Second, let the nation know in which mission they can take part. Right? Okay.
All right. Thank you, Doctor, for the insightful thoughts. And then, Len, is there any question?
Okay, so we have a question from our participant, Wardatun Nuha. So she asks, can doctor explain why the early 3 questions is important and what does those indicate?
Okay. The 3 questions reflect that whether people understand that Malaysian are now depends on food, imported food. Okay, and then can we fully rely on imported food? So do we realize that we depend on imported food, and do we realize that there is vulnerability when we depend on imported food? Of course, I just mentioned that imported food is okay. It is a strategy for us to make sure that the food available. but are we doing enough to make sure that we will consistently secure our food through imported food? And it seemed like, the practice that we have now is vulnerable. Okay, so through the question, I wanted to see whether participant aware that there is a vulnerability. Yeah, okay, and that's why our country produces this Dasar Keselamatan Makanan Negara. Yeah, I hope
Thank you,
that answered the
Doctor, for your
question.
answer. Yes.
Okay.
Eddie?
All right. Next, we will be moving on to the next question, and
Okay.
this question is kind of long. So
Okay.
the question sound like, do you think coordination is the main problem on food security? For example, helping small farmer can skip middlemen so we can access to cheaper food. Government help on food is not a drain in resources since food is a basic right. Like we can distribute over stock food that will be thrown away anyway. So food safety, we can just have a platform for people to complain about the hygiene of restaurant to the institution in charge. What the thing regarding this?
Yeah. Coordination. Okay. So correct coordination could be the important part. But to coordinate, I think we are still lacking of system that help us coordinate. Yeah. So even if we wanted to connect our supply chain in a way that we can close the loop, making sure the food is accessible, okay, with the right price at the right time. We don't have the system yet. Yeah, we don't have the system that we can establish with the lower cost to fit the need of those who, for example, like farmers, they have low technological capability and things like that. So yeah, I think we still need system. Although we can coordinate, but we still need a system to support those coordination. Yeah. I hope I answered the question. Or maybe as we go through to the next part, maybe that can clarify some of the answer needed.
All right, and Lim already respond. Thank you very much for answering her or his question. So next, we're moving on to the next question, Lim.
Okay, so we have a question from Mohammed Zikri. What role does food waste play in Malaysia's food security problem? Okay.
What role
Does food waste
mhm.
play in Malaysia's food security problem?
Okay, as we see just now, we have an issue with malnutrition, meaning that there are still our population group that do not receive enough food, nutritious food. But at the same time, we are seeing that the country face food waste. Okay, and then this food waste should actually, if we have the system, okay, we have the system that work effectively, could actually supply maybe surplus, farm surplus to those group that are malnutrition. Okay, so the the issue is interrelated. It's interrelated, and there is no system that connect and help resolve this issue. One part we have waste, the other part are malnutrition. So that's where food wastage come in and contribute to food security.
Thank you, Doctor. All right, so Zikri responded. Thank you for your insightful answer, Doctor.
You're welcome.
We have another question from Poh Kok Hao, and the question sounds like, the situation in the Middle East affect oil prices in various regions of the world, and Malaysia is not exception. Huge transportation costs have led to an increase in the prices of important food. What changes do you think Malaysia need to make?
Okay. Changes in terms of maybe logistic. If we can have a logistic system that can connect maybe a nearby source that does not require like long distance logistic. So we can make sure food availability, food accessibility without having higher cost of logistic. Okay, so if only we have that kind of system, like if we have local farmer nearby, why we have to obtain food from supply that require higher cost of logistic? Maybe it's just from maybe surplus, or maybe it's small farmer, but as long as they can supply the needed ingredient, needed food, and reduce the cost of logistic, okay, that is something that maybe help us to handle the rising cost of logistic due to Middle East geopolitical situation. Well, in fact, I would say, like, this kind of knowledge, this kind of expertise can be looked at different angle. Like maybe I look it from the angle of food management, but other people, maybe politician, maybe those from business perspective, they would have different opinion regarding this. Okay, so I give my opinion based on food management perspective. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Doctor, for your answer. Pokok also said thank you to you. So, as if there are no more further questions, we will now proceed to our second session, which is food security problems and impact, where
Okay.
Doctor will share some useful insight regarding this topic. So I pass the stage to you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Amirul. Okay, so now I would like to continue with giving you some overview about our Dasar Keterjaminan Makanan Negara, in which I think this is an important document to make more nation aware of this effort, and make them understand what role that they can play. And of course, this document contain a detailed information about what I have discussed just now, the challenges that we face in terms of food security, and then what the impact it gives to the nation. And this document produces solution that can be applied, can be implemented by various sector of the country and our nation. Okay, so what is it? it is, we call it Malaysia National Food Security Policy. So why do we need this? Because it addresses food supply risk, price volatility, and nutritional challenges. Okay, so this document help us to address this important issue so that we can manage our food security. Okay, so who is involved? Okay, so this policy actually is not for Kementerian Pertanian, it's not for MOSTI. It is a reference for the government, for the industry, for researcher, and in fact, community. So this policy is whole of nation approach. So it is designed to make sure that every group, government, industry, researcher play their role. Okay, so when it is implemented, it has been launched in 2024 and it is aimed to achieve its mission until 2030. So where does the policy apply? It applies to entire Malaysian food system. Okay, so I think I mentioned just now, food security is a complex system. So this is where this policy explain who should involve to help make our food supply system resilient. So how will this policy achieve food security? Okay, all in all, this policy has 4 strategic missions, and each mission will require different groups to play their part, to play their role. So as someone maybe from computer science, IT, you have your role in maybe one of the mission or maybe some of the mission. For me, food management, I see there are a few missions that I can play my role in. Okay, so that's the importance of this policy. We need to understand, and if we can, educate more and more people to play their role. Okay, so this policy has 4 missions, but the policy has several enablers to ensure that the mission can be achieved. Okay. Just now I mentioned the four mission in this document have 4 mission that is supported by 5 enabler, and then they actually wanted to cover 6 dimensions of security. Okay, so just now, if you still remember, when I introduced food security, I mentioned 4 pillars of food securities. Okay, but our country, we go beyond that. We now wanted to introduce 6 dimensions of food security. Okay, so we'll look into that 6 dimension later. But the bottom line, okay, we need to know that the Dasar Keterjaminan Makanan Malaysia is not a collection of isolated agriculture project. Okay, it is not for agriculture only. It is highly engineered for the whole nation, whole of nation, to participate, to play their role. And ultimately, what we want is, we want to shift, okay, our country from reactive crisis management to proactive system. Meaning we don't want our country to have a system that only find a solution when it's too late. Yeah? We want a proactive system to ensure that our country has a resilient food supply system. Okay, and we are targeting this by 2030, we have a resilient food ecosystem. Okay, the 6th dimension. Okay, if you cannot identify what are the 2 additional dimensions that we have in our food security under this dasar keterjaminan makanan. The 2 dimensions that we add. Originally, there are only 4 pillars, but now we add 2 more. We go above and beyond, we add 2 more. Okay. What we have added here is agency and sustainability. Okay, so what is agency? We add 1 more dimension on agency, which we want to empower individual and community to make independent and informed choice. Okay, so here is an indication. All nation, individual level have their role, even only making informed choice. All right, and then the additional dimension is sustainability. Okay, we wanted to make sure a long-term ecological and economic viability of the food agri-system, and this dimension was not in the 4 pillars just now. Yeah, so we added this agency and we added sustainability. Okay. So the 4 mission, the 4 important mission in our dasar keterjaminan makanan. The first one is we wanted to establish efficient and productive agriculture. Okay, so this is the first mission. If you look at this mission, it sounds agriculture, but many parties can come and play their roles on this aspect. Okay. The next one is sustainable and resilient agri-food system. Okay. And then the third mission is safe food and healthy nutrition for all. And the last one is inclusive economic growth. So under all this mission, there are strategies and there are initiatives. Okay, so if you want to understand more, I really strongly encourage you all to look into this document and see what the ministry have laid out for us to achieve all these 4 missions through the strategy and initiative. Okay, so I'll go through briefly. Of course, the document is very long. What are the missions? And what are the elements under each of this mission? Yeah? The first one is efficient and productive agriculture. So the core objective is to address fundamental sector challenge through sustainable high yield approach. Okay, so this is where we want to get seed and genetic resource, water and soil resource, and energy labor. Okay, so under this mission, we want to have input optimization, diversification, digital accelerations, and staple security. Okay, so all in all, this mission seem to try to make our agriculture system sustainable and produce high yield with the use of technology, diversification, and optimization. Okay, I think these are more technical in the sense of us to make the system efficient and productive. The next one is sustainable and resilient agri-food system. The core objective is to elevate system tolerance against external shock while regenerating natural capital. Okay, so under this mission, we wanted to apply several models. One is regenerative model, which is circular economy. Okay, just now we have surplus, so if we can create a model or create a system to realize this model, okay, we can help in sustaining our food system. Other than that, we have a blue economy. This one is for, I think it's for marine resource stability. And then we have shock buffering. Okay, this one is for deploying advanced early warning system and proactive risk management protocol. Okay, and then waste eradication. This one is structural intervention and redistribution network to eliminate the tons of waste that we produce daily. Okay, so these are the aim of this mission. Yeah. Okay, the third mission is safe and healthy nutrition for all, with the core objective empowering producer to supply safe food while guiding consumer toward intelligent nutritional choice. So for this mission, we have the supply side, what is their role, and then the consumer side, what role they should play. Okay, so for the supply side, meaning like the retails, producer, manufacturers, they should have a rigid monitoring system to ensure that the food is safe. For example, like they can have certification like good agriculture practice, and there are many other certification system or scheme that can help them ensure that the food is safe. And then for SME, they can have local enterprise developing alternative or healthy food product. Okay, so SME can play their role in making innovation so that they can develop alternative and healthy food choice. On the consumer side, okay, consumer should ensure that they will be given informed choice. Like they should be given information on labeling, okay, and they should be given nutritious food as a food alternative. And then for schools, the schools program should help ensure that the school children have nutrition program and support high risk demographic. Okay, meaning all the kids from poor, low income family, they have all the required nutritional or diet needed. Yeah. Okay, so that is the third mission. And the last mission is inclusive economic growth. And this one, the core objective is to close the inequality gap by integrating marginalized community into the agri-food ecosystem. So this one means that we have a centralized market or safety net that allows rural hub, like small farmers, small producers to be part of the supply and to get the necessarily upgrades, yeah, so then they can be part of the production lah. So that's why we call it inclusive economic growth. Okay. Okay, so they could be those from the group of orang asli or rural communities. Yeah? So we empower them so that they can also be part of the agri-food ecosystem. So these are the 4 missions that we have laid out in our dasar keterjaminan makanan negara. And as we can see, to achieve those 4 missions, it will involve multiple sectors. Okay, as the multiple sectors can be impacted by the food security, that means they have their role and their support. We need their support to make sure that we can achieve our mission. The enabler to transform our agri-food system to be resilient system, we have 5 enablers, which is human capital, governance and policy, data innovation, strategic financings, and strategic communication. So for human capital, we need upscaling the workforce, and we need to incentivizing young participation, okay, young people to participate. Okay, and then government and policy, we need cross-ministerial alignment via the National Food Security Majlis Ketentaminan Makanan Negara, ya, to connect, okay, to libat urus many agencies under the ministries to become the endless in the transformation. And of course, we need data innovation. So we need to expand data-driven agriculture, sandbox program, and commercialization. And of course, we need strategic financing. So we should deploy financial instrument and scaling public-private partnerships. Okay, so this is from the aspect of financings. And finally, for communication, we need to drive national awareness and behavioral shift towards sustainable consumption. Okay, so I think this is the one line I mentioned about we need to create awareness, okay, among the nation at every layer. Okay, the next 2 slides, I just give you some overview from the document itself, how the overall component of the dasar keterjaminan makanan, ya, where it start from the 6 dimension just now, okay, and then how it leads to the food system and all the enabler just now, yeah. So this is just something that I want to show you to see the how wide and broad and depth it is, and how it involve multiple sectors to support, yeah, to support the mission. Okay, similarly, this one is also from the document Dasar Keterjaminan Makanan, where you can see the supply side and the demand side, yeah, who involved in the supporting, yeah. But I want to highlight here the role of system, I think from the perspective of data, from the perspective of I think from computer science, yeah, have in supporting the mission, where we need to gather a big data, yeah, to analyze the supply and the demand sector section. Okay, so this with that we will have the resilient food system if we are able to create this whole system complete with stok penimbal, pengukuhan, kesiapsiagaan bencana, kerjasama strategik. So we need this, which is supported by big data. Okay, so just to give you idea how big it is, how it involves many takbir urus, okay, from many sector, and how it is a whole of nation approach, where it involves multiple expertise. Okay, so the next part, I just want to share with you all an example, yeah, from food management perspective, how we can basically be part of supporting this mission and solving the food security issue. Okay. So this is an example of a project that I am currently working on. We have a systemic failure in school nutrition. I think recently we hear again the issue of stunting kan in the media. Some of the contribution towards this issue is really how our school food service system has failed to supply nutritious food to the school children. Okay, it's not because of there is lack of awareness. It's not because of not so much of lack of education in what is nutritious food, why we need to eat nutritious food, but actually we are facing systemic failure. There is no system in place to support the supply, production, and distribution of nutritious food. So this is an example. I just want to share with you. Okay, so we have a policy in place to make sure that like the school canteen, they have to produce nutritious food. Okay, and every school district will have a system, okay, guideline to select the right canteen and to make sure that the canteen operate in producing healthy food choice for the school children. However, DASA has only become DASA because of we still fail to consistently supply nutritious food to the school children. Okay, why does this happen? Because of the excess of affordable, fresh raw ingredients are difficult to be obtained by the school canteen. Okay, and we call this operational bottleneck. Okay, why this happen? School canteen, they are micro enterprise. Okay, their operations are lack of support in terms of digital procurement planning, cost effective. They do not have the system in place to make the production of healthy food easier. Okay, they don't have the system, they don't have the technology. Maybe they have the awareness, but they work in a very constrained and limited resources. We must admit that they also work with low profit margin, okay, because of school, the most you can sell is 3 ringgit per meal, but usually the meal is 1 ringgit and 2 ringgit. So with that price, it's impossible for school to continue to supply nutritious food to the kids, because the ingredient of healthy food is expensive. So then we need a system to help the school canteen to get supply of healthy food and to make their operation consistently able to produce the product with very limited barriers. So now budget is the cost is the barriers, the supply is barriers, so many barriers due to system failure. Okay, so as a result, we are seeing inconsistent nutritional offering that contribute to the ongoing risk of stunting and wasting among Malaysian school children. Stunting tu you tahu kan is bantut, okay, kanak-kanak bantut, and wasting is too skinny. At that age they are too skinny. Their weight is low than what is their height, so it's too skinny. So how do we create, re-engineer the supply chain so then we can make sure that the school children can get nutritious food. So in this project, we propose a circular economy model, where we connect food source that is from small farmer, from their surplus. Okay, although surplus, it can be supplied fresh, raw, still in a good condition to the school canteen, the operators, and then we can give the school children a better and nutritious options. Yeah. So in this system, we can involve social entrepreneur. Social entrepreneur, they can play their role in connecting the small farmer to the operators with a lower cost. Okay, so but then how do we connect all of these player, okay, so that we can close the loop, the small farmers, the social entrepreneurs, and the school canteen operators. Okay, this is example in my my project. I involve the social entrepreneur who actually work with corporate in doing the social entrepreneur, usually finding a solutions for helping the community. So in this case, as an example, I have involved this Pasagrap who actually focus on peruncitan, yeah, in their social activities. Okay, so in this project, we see that we have to create two channel of nutritious food supply. Yeah? One is by the canteen itself, and then the other one is we can put smart vending machine. Okay, but the issue is we wanted to make sure that we can supply the surplus ingredient from small farmer so that the school canteen can continuously get the ingredient and produce food for these two channel, the canteen and also using the vending machine, because vending machine, they have a better option in supplying food like salad, yeah, because it needs refrigerations, yeah, and it allows for the product to be sell for a longer period with limited production need. Okay. Okay. So what we need is a digital system that help them to make a smart procurement, okay, and then automated. Okay. So these are the system that will minimize or eliminate manual calculation error, and then stock waste, okay, due to wrong calculation, and then make sure that the nutrition value is produced correctly in every serving. If only we can develop this kind of system, then we can help the small farmers to sell their surplus. We can help the school canteen to produce healthy food choice for the students. And of course, the benefit ultimately is the school children, they will get nutritious food. Okay, so under this, we will have to develop smart procurement, a module, cost management, and of course, the SOP for productions and food safety. Okay, so if we have that system, we can build in all of this module inside the system, and then they can operate and fulfilling the need. Okay, so this is an example of what can be the output of the project. Okay, But I want to highlight here, if we have this kind of system, it will help us in gathering data, a lot of data about what would be the ingredients needed, what would be the nutritional intake of the school children. If we can create such a system where all the procurement process, production of the product, healthy product can be recorded, okay, through the system. Okay, so in the end, such a system will give social impact, economic impact, and environmental impact. I think you all can see that. Of course, social impact, we can try to reduce health issue among the school children, yeah, issue stunting and wasting, as the children has a better access to nutritious food at school because of the school creates a healthy choice environment, okay. And then, of course, economic impact. We can help the canteen to control their costs. And of course, farmers as well, they can ensure continuous business, yeah, because of that system connect them with the producer that will use their surplus, yeah. And then finally is, of course, is environmental impact. We can reduce food waste instead of the surplus become waste. It is safely used, yeah. Through the system, it allows to be distributed to the school canteen, to the producer, and that will benefit the school children. Okay, so those are example lah. If you ask me how we can hack the issue of food security from the perspective of food management. So these are example of current project that I'm working on, and there are other things like food wastage, how we can, yeah, but yeah, I think for this time we are working on that one, and that's how I want you all to see. Even though we give awareness, we still need a system to support, so then those who I say vulnerable population can benefit. Okay, and then if you can see the example just now is actually fulfilling mission 3 and mission 4 of the Dasar Keterjaminan Makanan just now. So I think that's all for my sharing today, and I welcome further questions from the audience. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Madya, Doctor, for the insightful and inspiring sharing. We truly appreciate your taking the time to share your experience and knowledge with us today. We would also like to thank the organizing committee from COMSIL and MPP UPM 2025-2026, as well as all participants for joining us and actively participating in this webinar. We hope today's session has provided you with valuable knowledge and insights regarding food security and inspired you to think how innovative ideas and solutions can help address challenges related to hunger and sustainable food system. We will now open the floor for the Q&A session. If you would like to ask a question verbally, please raise your virtual hand. Otherwise, you may type your question in the chat box. Thank you.
Okay, Doctor. So while waiting for our participant to type their questions, I actually have one question for you, Doctor. So how do food security issues affect communities, especially those who came from low-income groups?
What is the issue of food security?
Oh no. Yes. How do food security issues affect communities that
Mhm.
came from low-income group?
Okay. They have lesser access to food because of low income community. They have low purchasing power. Um, and that will lead to health issue. Okay, and then that will lead to low productivity, low academic achievement. Um, Obviously, they are vulnerable groups. Okay, and if you can um, notice from the overall Dasar Kejaminan Makanan Plan, you see they are part of a kumpulan rentan that we have to make sure they on the demand side, they they are being supported. Okay, if you see just now in that overall view, they are a CSR activity to help this group of kumpulan rentan so that they will not be affected. Of course, they are important group that we have to support, through this food security issue because they are vulnerable. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor. Okay, so we have a question from Kokao. As computer science and IT student, we often want to build apps or system to solve national issues. To effectively support the 2030 food security goals, what specific agricultural data or open source resource does the government or industry need to make available to student developer?
Uh, I think I may not have the right answer for that because of I'm not in that area. Yeah, but maybe I wanted to share with you all. Maybe I don't have enough knowledge on ITs and technology knowledge background. I went to approach several companies to come up with a system to help me design a system where I learned like um, such a system are so expensive. Um, it's more than 100K, and even some of the company wanted to join venture, like they wanted to gain the profit of every single transaction that occurred in the system. Like, oh, I just learned from the process, that maybe the system is demanding, like it's difficult to build, where they require like uh, the data and then a system to maintain. So I really from zero I approach all these companies. Yeah, so yeah, I don't have the answer to that because I don't have any background of that, but I just share with you all. Those from a non computer science background, we maybe we need some education to help like communicate, to have like a understanding of what you can offer and how we can work together to design um, the system in a more like user-friendly way. Because when I deal with them, like they don't give me the framework of where I should start with. When we deal, what do you want? Like we don't know their language, and it's like I think there's a better way to maybe there's a better way to communicate because of we are the user, we have zero knowledge. Yeah, maybe those are the thing that I think we have to work together, but we have to have um, um, a better how should I say a better uh, a better understanding of how each party works, so that people with zero knowledge know where to start. Yeah, so that's why I'm so excited with this kind of effort made by the student association, because I know a lot of a sector they wanted to be part of this mission to help our food security, nation food security. We know we need a system, but we don't have that background to start with, and that's where I wanted to communicate this this experience, so then we can see how we can work together from different sector in a more efficient way, I think. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Doctor, for the answer. Next, we have question from Muhammad Zikri, and the question sound like, if you were to design a tech solution to tackle food security, which of the three pillars of macro impact will you focus on first, and why? This question is for our next program, which is upcoming hackathon. So maybe Doctor can share some of tips on how to tackle food security in three pillar macro impact for focusing. Yeah.
Micro impact. The three pillar are referring to accessibility, availability. Is it that one, or the dasar keterjaminan makanan impact?
I
Pillar.
think maybe the first one.
The first one. Okay. In terms of availability, I guess I answer it from my my background. How do we know that there is a supply that is available nearby? How do we know? Okay, for example, how do we know that there is a surplus, large amount of surplus available? Because of usually surplus or waste, you cannot get this information easily because of maybe it is not a consistent surplus. It can be available, but it's difficult to forecast. So how can we create a system to get a consistent information of this supply of surplus or waste that can be used? So that is in terms of availability. For example, like if an operation, they wanted to maybe use surplus or upcycle a waste to make a product, okay? they cannot make sure that they will get a consistent supply of the material to sustain their business. So I think those are the things to tackle first before we talk about promoting healthy choice using surplus, before we talk about promoting upcycle product. In the first place, how can we make sure that the ingredient is available and consistently? So I think that is the first thing to tackle first. Because from my experience, working with operator or producer, they struggle with like, where do we get these supplies? Where do we get this waste? If we want to innovate new product using all this ingredient, by chance maybe they can get it, but there is no platform that they know where they can get the supply. Yeah, so that is the first thing to tackle. In terms of the one is availability. In terms of accessibility, usually this product is cheaper. Is cheaper. So I think, but then there is like a connotation of the product is low in quality because it's a plus, it's a waste. Okay. So in terms of accessibility, supposedly there is not much challenge, because usually this can be obtained in the cheaper price as compared to ordinary product. Yeah. The other one is, what was this now? Accessibility, stability. Oh no, utilization. Okay. For utilization, meaning that the product is safe and nutritious. Okay, how do we make sure like a surplus or waste continue to be safe? Not continue lah, but it's like you want to make sure that this product is safe for consumption and maintain its nutritional quality. Maybe you need a system to track your inventory and the shelf life of this product, so that it is not in your storage for long, and it no longer safe and nutritious for consumption. So those are the things that we need to tackle, because of, again, we have a connotation that the product is almost not safe to be consumed and no longer nutritious, because of it may become spoilish. But then we need a good inventory and storage system, so then the shelf life of this product is still within an acceptable or a safe condition. I don't know, you can use maybe IoT, or I don't know, in terms of the system, I don't know, but that's the need. How we can ensure all the supply of waste and surplus just now is still safe and nutritious to eat. Because when I work on the project just now about the circular economy, the question that I get from the ministry, how do I make sure that the ingredient is still safe to eat? Because of it, when it is delivered to the operators, maybe it almost reached its shelf life end. at the end of their shelf life duration. Yeah? So it has to be, the rotation of stock has to be carefully calculated. So then we can make sure, of course, we want to remove the perception that surplus can no longer be consumed. Yeah? But of course, we have to have an inventory system, a storage system that calculate precisely that the product is still safe to eat. Okay, so that is in terms of 3 pillars: availability, accessibility, and utilization.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for answering the question. We actually have one last question from our participant.
Okay.
Okay, so from Leonor Mera. Hi, Doctor. Many food security solutions focus on increasing production, but how can innovation also address food distribution and food waste, which are the major contributor to global food insecurity?
I think the example I give just now is to tackle food security by reducing food waste. That is, we wanted to have a system that can distribute the surplus, the waste, at the right time, okay, at the right place, so that it can ensure availability of the food. I think to the targeted population, which is the vulnerable one. So um, what we need is really a system, a distribution system that can connect the producer, the operator, and the user in a short period of time and precisely. Yeah. So with that, we can reduce food waste. We can reduce surplus. That is one of the major costs of food security just now. Yeah. A system to connect them.
Okay, so thank you, Doctor, for answering. I hope that answers your question, Leonor Mera. So thank you again, Doctor, for engaging with our discussion and a thoughtful question from our participants. So before we officially conclude today's session, we would like to invite everyone for a photograph session. So kindly turn on your cameras and give us your best smile. So we will give you a few seconds to turn on your cameras. Okay. I hope everyone can take part and turn on their cameras for a while. Let's take a group picture. Okay, we'll wait for another couple of seconds. Okay, is the technical team ready?
Yes.
All right, okay. So, okay, everyone, give us your big smile. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, one more.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Is that it?
One more, Clement. One
Okay,
more.
ma'am. All right.
Last one. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
All right, so with that, thank you everyone for your wonderful cooperation. You may now turn off your camera. And before everyone leave, we kindly ask all participants to scan the QR code displayed on the screen to fill in the feedback form and merit form. Your feedback is greatly appreciated as it helps us to improve our future program. On behalf of the organizing committee, thank you once again being part of webinar series Had the Hunger, and also for our guest today, which is Professor. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we truly appreciate your participation. Assalamualaikum and have a pleasant day ahead. Thank you, everyone. Make sure you guys scan the QR form before you leave this webinar. Thank you. Maybe you guys can chat in the chat box to thank our doctor today for a great insight.